Hey, welcome to Dad Space. This is Dave. It's a little different music this time around. Yeah, a little different. What are we doing? Well, this is National Podcast Post Month. What does that mean to you? It means to you that you're going to get 30 episodes in 30 days. 30, I know, right? And the idea is that as podcasters, we're going to create episodes in support of National Podcast Post Month. They call it hashtag #NaPodPomo for those at home that are keeping score. But the idea is that we just create content for you daily in the month of November. So we are focusing on some great people that have been past guests on the show and friends of the show, answering questions about dads and giving you some feedback. And then also adding in some of the books that I found and resources I found as a fellow dad that could help you possibly on your journey as a dad. So that's kind of what we're focusing on this month, and I'm excited to share this with you. It's going to be a great month, and today's episode is part of that. I'm excited to share with you a new resource, possibly new to you, and tell you my thoughts about it here on Dad Space. Glad to be with you. The other big part of November, which I'm excited to also bring forward for those that are unaware, is we call it also Movember. What is Movember? It's when the mustache is calling. It is our time as men to unite, to take on mental health, suicide, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and all of that is to shine a light on men's mental health and men's physical health. And we're celebrating Movember as well. Link in the show notes for you to see how you can support is to raise money and awareness for men. So on top of doing National Podcast Post Month, this month is always focused on you as well as men. We're here to support you and to let you know that there's a community around you that's wishing and searching for the best for you as men. So happy Movember, everyone, as well. Let's get into the podcast. So another quotable moment for you here on Dad Space. I love these quotes. They really do come up in conversation quite often. And this one is from Clarence Budington Kelland. And it's a good one. I really like this one. This really resonates with me. And the quote from Clarence is, "My father didn't tell me how to live. He lived. And he let me watch him do it. My father didn't tell me how to live. He lived, and he let me watch him do it." It's interesting. The power of a lived life, the power of a life that demonstrates more than the words that come out of our mouth. This whole thing around do as I say, don't do as I do. Very interesting. It's interesting because sometimes your kids, as you as an adult, share your struggles with your kids, like how you went off the rails, how you rebelled, how you went against your parents' wishes, the things you did, the screw-ups that you've done in life. Should we hide them from our kids? No, we really shouldn't, but it's almost like they see us and our mess-ups and the ways we got off track, the things we did that were wrong in the moment, and we knew they were wrong, but we did them anyway. They use that as kind of a way out. It becomes their foundation, their ground floor, that, well, you turned out okay, so it must not be as harmful as you say it is. But the regrets that we have for the bad mistakes we make in the past, we don't want our kids to recreate those themselves. We want them to learn from it and bypass it or skip that step. But sometimes they hold our mistakes over our head and judge us for wanting something better for them. Well, you messed up. So who are you to tell me that I can't mess up? You made a big mistake. You were in a bad relationship. You did things that you shouldn't have done. You stole, you cheated, you messed around when you were in high school. Then that becomes my way out and my excuse and my support for choosing an equally bad decision as your kid. So there's a wrestling match here. Like, how much do we tell our kids? How much do we live in front of them? There's this perception that we're perfect because we're adults. We got this all together. We've learned our lessons, so we should be fine to be an example. The fact is we haven't learned every lesson. We'll make mistakes. And our kids sometimes look at us like we're infallible. Like, well, there's no way that we can ever make a mistake. There's no way we don't mess up. They kind of put us on this pedestal that there's no better people in the world than my dad, my mom. But at the same time, they pick away at some of the things that we are not proud of, the things that we are not doing well in life, the things that we struggle with. And they hold them over our heads and use them as an excuse for them to do whatever they want. Because, again, you did whatever you wanted. So I just love the idea that my father didn't tell me how to live. He lived. And then he let me watch him do it. Think of a student learning from as an apprentice of somebody who's a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or a mechanic, and just being there next to the person who knows something that you don't know and soaking it all in. You don't have to tell your kids how to live. You have to demonstrate to your kids how to live. You have to own up to your mistakes. And you have to redirect your kids from making the same mistakes you did. So instead of telling, make sure you live your life in front of your kids. And don't fall into that trap of do as I say, don't do as I do. You should be the one who does what you say and lives how you live, and it matches with your words. That's my big challenge for you. Drop that do as I say, don't do it as I do. If you've ever said that before, please stop and start living the words that you're trying to impart on your kids so that they see it in action. Let them see your scars, but let them see how you've worked past it, and then be on them to not recreate your scars, but to do better than you. And when you screw up, then step up. Apologize, do whatever you can to fix it. But again, you are not responsible for their acceptance of your apology. That's on them. And it might take some time. It might take a lot of time. It might take years and years and years, unfortunately. But live your life in front of your kids. And please stop saying, do as I do, and do as I say instead of do as I do. Please stop saying that. We need to live our life for our kids. So from Clarence, again, my father didn't tell me how to live. He lived, and he let me watch him do it. The kids are watching. They're in the next room. They're in the car seat behind you. And when you drop that F-bomb, when somebody cuts you off, you got to know, like a sponge, they're soaking that up. They're watching you treat your partner. They're watching you get frustrated at work. They're watching you struggle with your money. They're watching you drink too much, work too much. They're listening to how you talk about people behind their back. What you say about people that you don't like in this world. Be careful. Those little eyes, little ears, right? Don't tell them how to live, but live and let them watch you do it. Thanks for listening to Dad Space. Happy Movember, everybody. This is Dad Space. I'm glad you're here. Happy November to you. Happy Movember. And I would love for you to share this with another dad. This podcast, this Movember, this month where we focus on dads, this is the focus on you. And we are in your corner. If you've ever felt like you're alone, if you've ever felt like you're doing this on your own and there's no one there to help you and support you, then let Dad Space be that for you this Movember. We need to stick together. We need to be there to support each other and build each other up as men. And this was an entire month focused on us being Movember. So happy Movember, everyone. Understand that you're loved, cared for, and needed in this world. And there's no one else that can be the father that you can be. There's no one else who can be the man that you can be. And we need you. Happy Movember. Thanks for listening to Dad Space. And look forward to having you back for the next daily episode here in the month of November as we celebrate Movember and National Podcast Post Month. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a great dad. And thanks for sharing the show. Happy Movember, everybody.
It's time to rethink men's health. Because it doesn't just affect men, it affects us all. When men are well, the benefits ripple through families and communities. But when men are unwell and unsupported, we all feel it. We're all the real face of men's health. Be part of the solution with Movember.